She joked to a whole dinner table that she needed a new husband because the one she had was broken. So I handed her the divorce papers in front of her parents. The moment her laughter died was the first time in years she finally saw the man who was done being her punchline. There are moments in a marriage where something tiny, a sentence, a tone, a look, quietly kills whatever is left. It doesn't explode. It doesn't shatter. It just ends. For me, it was a laugh. Not mine, hers. We were at a dinner party at her sister's house. 12 people, long table, candles, wine flowing like they were shooting a commercial for red flags. I'd spent the whole afternoon helping her set up, grocery runs, carrying boxes, hanging lights, the kind of invisible husband labor no one ever applauds. By the time everyone sat down to eat, I was exhausted but happy. I liked these family things, even if they drained me. I liked feeling part of something. But then dessert came. Her sister made some comment about how hard marriage is, joking that she and her husband sometimes drive each other crazy. People laughed, glasses clinked. Then my wife, Jenna, leaned back in her chair, swirled her wine like she was auditioning for Real Housewives, and said, "God, I need a new husband. This one's broken." Laughter erupted around the table. Her mom giggled. Her sister snorted. Even her brother-in-law chuckled. I didn't. I just stared at my plate while Jenna slapped my arm playfully, adding, "Seriously, anyone know where I can get an upgrade?" More laughter. I smiled. The tight, polite kind you make at funerals, but inside something in me quietly clicked shut. Like a door that had been creaking for years finally decided to lock itself from the inside. Because this wasn't new. This wasn't a one-off, oops, I went too far. This was her fifth joke, like this in 2 months. Broken. Useless. Not a real man. Slow. Not ambitious enough. She always said it with that performative smile, like each insult was a cute personality quirk. But seeing everyone laugh, seeing them normalize it, that was different. It hit me in the chest like someone dropped a small, dense stone into a glass of water. You don't hear it hit the bottom, but the ripple never stops. After dinner, she kept joking about it. In the kitchen, "Don't worry, he's basically house-trained." In the living room, "You should hear the noises he makes when he tries to fix things." In the car, "Lighten up, babe. It's just humor." It wasn't humor. It was contempt disguised as personality. And contempt kills love faster than cheating, silence, or arguments. When we got home, I went to bed without saying anything dramatic. No fight. No confrontation. No, how could you? Just a quiet decision forming in the dark. A final one. Jenna snored beside me, blissfully unaware that the man she mocked for being broken was the same man who built and paid for the house she slept in, who handled every bill, who supported her through every failed business idea, who stood by her when she spiraled into insecurity. But she didn't want a husband. She wanted an audience. And I was done clapping. I stared at the ceiling and whispered to myself, barely audible, "Okay, if you want a new husband, let's make it official." And that was the moment everything that followed became inevitable. Her joke had ended. She just didn't know it yet. The morning after the dinner party, Jenna woke up chipper and oblivious, humming while making coffee like she hadn't humiliated me in front of a room full of people the night before. "Morning, broken husband," she joked, nudging me with her hip. I didn't react, didn't smile, didn't flinch. I just took my coffee, kissed her forehead out of habit, and said, "Big day today? I'll be in my office for a while." She didn't notice the shift, not yet. She never noticed anything unless it directly affected her. As soon as I closed my office door, I powered up my laptop and opened a new folder titled Exit Plan. And for the first time in years, I felt calm. Not angry, not sad, not confused, just centered. I started with documentation. Every text she'd sent mocking me. Every voice message complaining I wasn't husband material. Every video I had from gatherings where she turned me into a punchline. Some people fantasize about revenge. I'm not built like that. What I wanted was freedom, clean, legal, airtight freedom. No drama, no yelling, nothing she could twist. So I documented. Screenshots, dates, descriptions, a timeline. Not because I expected trouble, because Jenna was the kind of person who could casually destroy someone's reputation if it made her feel better for 10 minutes. Better to be prepared. By noon, I had a folder full of evidence. By 2 p.m., I had spoken to a divorce attorney. By 3:30, I had initiated the paperwork. All of it done while Jenna danced around the house laughing at TikToks and sipping iced coffee. She didn't knock on my office door even once. When she asked me for help replacing a light bulb later, I did it silently, watching her talk to her sister on speakerphone about how she might trade me in someday. Her sister laughed. Jenna laughed louder. I didn't. She never wondered why. That night, I made dinner, her favorite, not out of sentiment, but because it kept her relaxed and unsuspecting. She gushed about it, posting a photo on her Instagram story with the caption, "Even broken things can be useful sometimes face-blowing a kiss." I watched her fingers typing it. I watched her hit post. And in that moment, the last tiny piece of me that cared simply evaporated. She didn't see my face. She didn't look up once. She was too busy reading the compliments. 2 days later, the documents were finalized and ready to present. I planned a double-date dinner with her parents, a monthly tradition where Jenna always performed her best version of supportive wife because her mother loved telling her friends how perfect her daughter's marriage was. She wore a navy dress that always made her feel powerful. She curled her hair. She sprayed the expensive perfume. At dinner, she put on her mask, smiling sweetly, complimenting me, holding my hand like it wasn't the same hand she slapped away in private when she was annoyed. Her parents adored the show. "Such a strong marriage," her mother said. "You two make it look so easy." Jenna laughed, brushing her hair back. "Oh, trust me, Mom, it's much harder with a broken husband." Everyone chuckled. Everyone except me. That was it. I reached into my coat pocket and pulled out an envelope. Jenna noticed and smirked. "What's that?" "A love letter," she teased. "No," I said softly. "A solution." I set the envelope on the table, facing her. She frowned, confused. "What's this supposed to?" She opened it. Her face drained of color so fast I thought she might faint. Her mother leaned forward. "What is it, sweetheart?" Her father took the papers gently and read the first page aloud. "Petition for dissolution of marriage." Silence. Jenna stared at me like I'd shot her. What is this?" she whispered. "The upgrade you wanted," I said calmly. "I'm making room for a new husband. You said you needed one." Her lips trembled. "That was a joke." I shook my head. "It stopped being funny a long time ago." Her mother gasped. Her father set the papers down like they burned him. Jenna reached across the table, touching my wrist. "Daniel, I didn't mean any of it. You know I joke. You know that." "I know," I said. "That's why it took me this long to leave." Her eyes filled instantly. "I can change." "You had years," I said quietly, "and all you did was laugh." She covered her mouth, shaking. Her parents watched the scene in stunned silence, witnessing, probably for the first time, what their daughter was like when no audience was clapping. I stood, buttoned my jacket, and nodded respectfully to her parents. "Thank you for dinner." Then I looked at Jenna one last time. I hope the new husband appreciates the jokes more than I did. And I walked out. She didn't follow. Not because she didn't want to, but because for the first time in our marriage, she understood. The joke was over. And I wasn't the punchline anymore. Update. I thought the dinner scene would be the climax. It wasn't. The real fallout began after I walked out of the restaurant. The moment my phone lit up with Jenna's caller ID vibrating like it was trying to jump out of my pocket. I didn't answer. By the time I reached my car, she called 6 times. By the time I got home, 11. By the time I put my keys on the counter, 15. Then the texts started. At first, they were stunned. "Daniel, please tell me this is a misunderstanding. You didn't mean that. You can't be serious. We need to talk. Please come back to the restaurant." Then they turned emotional. "I didn't know I was hurting you. Why didn't you tell me it was that bad? Please don't do this. I'm begging you." I put my phone on silent, poured myself a drink, sat at the kitchen island in complete silence. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was standing in the blast radius of someone else's ego. I felt at peace. An hour later, pounding at my door broke the quiet. Not knocking. Pounding. "Daniel." Her voice cracked through the wood. I opened the door halfway. Not wide enough to invite her in. Just enough to show her I wasn't hiding. She was red-eyed, mascara smudged, breathing hard from sprinting. "Why?" she whispered. It wasn't anger. It wasn't rage. It was confusion. Like she'd just discovered the fire she kept playing with had teeth. "You humiliated me," she said. "In front of my parents." I stared at her. "Do you hear yourself?" She blinked, thrown off. I stepped aside so she could see the empty living room behind me. The space where she'd teased me for years, the home she'd treated like a stage. I didn't humiliate you, I said quietly. I ended the performance. Her eyes filled again. But you blindsided me. No, I corrected. You ignored me for years. You made me the joke. I just finally answered. Her lip trembled. She tried a different tactic, her favorite. Soft voice, trembling hands. The vulnerable pout she used whenever she wanted me to play the hero. I can change, she whispered. I swear. Just give me a chance. I shook my head. You didn't want a husband, I said. You wanted someone who didn't mind being publicly disrespected. That's not true. Jenna, I cut in gently. You didn't laugh because you were joking. You laughed because you knew they would. You laughed because everyone else treated it as normal. You laughed because you never expected consequences. Her breath hitched. You're really leaving me, she said. I already did. She leaned her forehead against the door frame like she was trying to hold herself upright. And then, the line that told me the marriage couldn't be saved even if I wanted it to be. But what will people think of me? Not what she'd lost. Not how she'd hurt me. Not the years of contempt. Just her reputation. Her embarrassment. Her image. I didn't answer. I simply closed the door in the slowest, gentlest way possible. Not slamming. Not emotional. Just final. She stayed outside for a long time. I heard her footsteps eventually fade down the hall, then the elevator doors closing. Then the building fell silent again. That silence, that calm, steady, sacred silence, told me everything. I did the right thing. And in the morning, the consequences for Jenna would get much, much heavier. Final update. The morning after Jenna cried in my doorway, I woke up early. No alarm, no panic, no sinking feeling in my chest. Just quiet. For the first time in years, quiet didn't feel like walking on eggshells. It felt like oxygen. I made coffee, opened the blinds, fed the cat. Simple things, normal things. But they felt different, like the house had finally exhaled. Then my phone buzzed. The first message wasn't from Jenna. It was from her father. Please call me when you can. I didn't. 5 minutes later, he called. I let it ring out, but he left a voicemail. His voice sounded tired, embarrassed, older than it had at dinner. Daniel, I'm sorry for everything last night. I didn't realize Jenna had been treating you that way. Her mother and I want you to know we understand your decision. I played it twice. Not because I needed validation, but because hearing someone finally acknowledge it felt like closing a wound that had been open too long. Around noon, Jenna tried again. This time she didn't knock. She didn't scream. She didn't collapse into sobbing apologies. She sent a long text, the kind people write when they're terrified you won't read another one. It began with, "You blindsided me, but I've been thinking about it. And you're right. Then, I used you as a punching bag because it made people laugh. Then, I never thought you'd leave. I thought you loved me too much. And finally, I hate that it took losing you for me to see myself." I stared at the screen for a long time. She wasn't lying. She wasn't manipulating. It was the first text she'd sent in months that actually sounded like a real human being. Not a performer, not a jokester, not a woman who thought she was invincible. For a moment, a very brief one, I felt a flicker of sadness. Not for losing her. For wasting time on someone who had so little respect for my dignity that she didn't learn to value it until it was gone. But pity isn't love. Sympathy isn't partnership. Regret isn't a reason to rebuild something that never should have been built the way it was. So I typed one sentence. "Thank you for saying that." She saw it instantly. The typing bubbles appeared. "Does this mean we can talk?" I replied, "No." Silence. 5 minutes later. "We can fix this." "Jenna," I typed, "this wasn't a fight. This was the truth finally landing. I'm done being the joke." She didn't reply again. 2 days later, her sister posted a photo on Instagram, a group brunch. Everyone was smiling, except Jenna. Her eyes were swollen, makeup heavy, expression hollow. And the caption, "Rough week for my sis. Send love." The comments were exactly what I expected. People saying, "Stay strong. Men can be sensitive. You didn't deserve that." But then one comment stood out, from a cousin of hers. "You told us for years you'd trade him in. Guess he traded you first." It had over 300 likes. Jenna deleted the post an hour later. That night, she sent one last message. "I really thought you were too soft to ever leave me." I didn't reply. People mistake kindness for weakness until kindness runs out, and then they discover who you really are. A week passed. I met with my attorney again. Everything moved forward smoothly. No financial war, no custody battles, nothing dramatic or explosive. Just paperwork and closure. Jenna didn't contest anything. She didn't fight for the house. She didn't demand assets. She quietly signed her half and disappeared from the process. Her father called one more time. Son, I know this means little, but you deserved better. I knew that already, but hearing it mattered. Months later, I ran into Jenna downtown by accident. She was alone, different, quieter than I'd ever seen her. She looked at me, hesitated, and said only, "You were right to leave." No dramatic speech. No begging. Just acceptance. I nodded. "I hope you find something healthier next time," I said. She closed her eyes for a second, like the kindness stung more than cruelty ever could, then walked away. No tears. No scene. No final attempt. Just two people who had shared a life, walking in different directions because one finally realized he deserved respect. And now, my life is calmer. Smaller, on purpose. Not lonely, just peaceful. I cook for myself. Work out again. Read more. Go on hikes. I laugh at things without immediately checking who's watching. I'm not broken. I was just tired of being treated like I was. And the truth is simple. She didn't need a new husband. She needed a reality check. And I gave her one. The only one she would ever understand. I stopped being the punchline and started being someone who walked away when the joke stopped being funny. In the end, that was the happiest ending I could have written for myself.